Simone Hall, welcome to the LYHL Podcast. I know we had to work on dates quite a bit to get you here, and I'm so glad that it's finally happened. We met at a writers' conference in Santa Fe, and that's coming up on 2 years. This fall to be 2 years,
Wow.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like let's just a moment of silence, right? To like let that sink in. And out of that grew a writers group that I've been blessed to have you be in and be a part of. And it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. And I'm so excited to have you
Mm.
on the podcast. And because I don't know what you're going to say, and I'm fully confident that there's going to be so much richness that's going to benefit me
Mm.
and anybody that listens. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. A little bit nervous because I've never been on a podcast. But I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to have met you at that writing conference because it opened up so many different avenues for me. I've
Yeah.
expanded as like a writer and as a person just for
Yeah.
having gone there and then met you. And then now I'm in this writing circle that's brought me so many new experiences, rich experiences, and I'm really happy about that. So,
Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't normally say this, but I'm going to follow this prompt. I feel like this desire to encourage people, because for you and I, and you can, if this isn't your story, please
hmm
expand or change or make it fit. But my understanding is for both of us, there was like this internal knowing, this kind of like we had never done a writers conference before, and it was like
hmm
I'm supposed to do it, and we had to do an investment. Neither of us live in Santa Fe.
hmm
You're on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. So
hmm
there's like this convergence and that decision. Ooh, I'm having the goosebumps.
Oh,
Um,
hmm
those kind of conversation or those kind of decisions, it's I don't know, there's something about that following your gut, I feel like is what I want to say. Like if
hmm
you and I hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here.
No, absolutely not. That going to that retreat was not typical for me because
Hmm.
the writing that I did, number one, I kept to myself all of the time. But
Yep.
after I came back from living abroad and all of that, I said maybe it's time to really dive into writing. Let me take myself seriously and just attend this conference. And I also I think that's when I really started looking at like synchronicities too, a little bit more
Mm,
seriously. And I had been reading the the artist way at that
yeah,
point.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Julia Cameron talks about that a lot, and Carl Jung, and all of that. And so was reading that, and I checked my email, and I saw that Alex Elle was, um, talking about a conference. I'm like, oh, I love her. I've been following her for years. I'm just gonna go. I need to go. I want to go. And I didn't even know who else was going to be there or what it entailed. And I just kind of signed up. Like I just ripped the band-aid off. I saw the ad one day and I bought it like maybe the day or two after. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Then I found out um that Julia Cameron was actually going to be there. And I was like, okay, so I needed to do all of that. Like that needed to happen. So and I'm grateful because I feel like so much has happened since then.
So
So much has
much,
happened since
so
then.
much, so
So
much.
I'm happy I said yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
hmm
For so many reasons, and just one of them is just the enrichment knowing you has brought into my life.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I feel the same.
So Simone, how would you describe your work and vocation?
Okay.
Boom. Yeah.
That's
I'm just gonna set this small little question down.
okay, no problem. Um, I would describe my work and vocation as um, I would say it's a labor of love, because it is what
Hmm.
I do because it's what I feel. Um, I am a teacher by nature. I'm naturally just a teacher. So my background's in education, but even when I work that I was doing that did not have me in the classroom, I'm just naturally a
Hmm.
teacher, and I'm okay with that. Like, and I think it was something that I tried to like distance myself from because I wanted to be more as if teaching wasn't enough. But
Mm.
And, that
Mm,
was, I had to work through what that meant for me,
mhm,
what it meant to be a teacher. And I am a teacher, and it's not just a classroom. Everything I do, I want to help, I want to teach, I want to try to heal. So my vocation is more like a living practice in everything that I do. Um, like I love helping, like when I'm teaching, I love helping students find their voice, um, and tell their story and be who they are, no matter what that is, because everybody's expression is different, and that's fine. And then even in life, the people that I come across, my friends, family, people in my community, if there's something that I can impart, if I can see where I can impart some wisdom or some information, or it's just something that can help them, then I try to do that too in a gentle way, if somebody's willing to be receptive of it. And that's just who I am, like at the core of
mm,
who I am. I'm a teacher all the way. So,
mhm.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious about, because a lot of times I ask what naturally comes out is I want to go into people's past as it relates to it,
Mhm.
but I kind of want to go into the future or like
Okay.
you know, like that's what's arising in me is to ask about as you think about because I'm curious about like the writing and the teaching
Mhm.
because the context that I know you in is as a writer
Mhm.
and and I think this is something that's like a confluence that's coming together. So I'm asking a question there. Should I land on something a little more concrete?
Um, yes, just to give me some
Yeah.
guidance,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I honestly feel like I'm thinking about the swirls that we were talking about in our
Yeah.
group. I don't know
Yeah.
if I can speak about my future without speaking about my past, because it's all kind of like swirling together into what I do
Great.
right now.
Great. Great. So I think my question is so I know you as a writer
Hmm.
and I've enjoyed so much observing you and companioning you on this portion of your writer's journey in the last almost 2 years, and I'm curious how you see your writing come together with this knowledge of yourself, this deep knowing of yourself as a teacher.
Hmm. Um, oh, okay. Um, I feel, let's see, that's a good question. I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. Um, how do they come together, my writing and my teaching?
And I yeah, and and it might be and I sense and that's why
Hmm.
I sense it's kind of like an emerging
Hmm.
thing. So I don't think there needs to be like some uh like sometimes we're looking for solidity and you're just talking about so when we got together at our last writers group, our brave writers group, what we call it, uh,
Hmm.
that you our brave writers room, we were all talking about swirls and you just meant referenced this earlier of like life coming round and round. So part of your knowing is, oh, teacher, teacher, teacher.
Hmm.
And in this swirling is writing that, a few years ago was something you kept to yourself. And now you've published a book.
Hmm.
And so I think there's a growing sense of yourself in that way. Like, how do you see, are they different or I don't know.
No, they are the same. They are like they
Same, yeah.
I feel like this. I feel like I've always had the will and the desire, and I feel like the burden to want to write something and publish it.
Burden. Hmm.
Like I felt like this is what I have to do, and it's been since I was a child. I knew I wanted to write, but I didn't know what I wanted to write about. And as a teacher, I'll say my former life as a teacher, pre Japan, before I went to Japan, And even in Japan, when I was writing personally for myself, it was writing that I kept to myself, and it was honest and it was real, but it was so honest I didn't want to share it. And so
Yeah.
when teaching my students how to write, like there was a part of myself that I was holding back. Not that they need to know everything about my life, but I was not writing from a place of authenticity when I was in the classroom because I didn't know how to do that. So there was a part of my teaching that was like lacking that. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like coming back from Japan and like experiencing some of the things that I have since having been there and then come back from there and part of my own life's journey outside of the classroom, like the physical school classroom, not the life classroom. I've learned so much about myself, and I've made it a practice and an intention to walk in my authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
That now these things are coming together, and I am anxious to get back into the classroom because I feel like I have more to give to them and I can help to
Mm-hmm.
show them because I'm actually doing it in my own life, which is why I was able to publish Heartstorm. The reason I didn't want to put anything out before, everything I tried to share as a poet and as a writer that I felt was safe to give to the public was always masked. It was not
Mm-hmm.
authentic writing. And so it didn't sound authentic to me. And it was kind of, like, I don't feel that thrilled about it. But the more authentic that I was becoming or I am becoming, the more my writing reflects that. And I feel like I'm finding more people that kind of connect with it more because that's the place that it's coming from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, authenticity seems crucial to um, living a well-lived life,
Mm-hmm.
to and gosh, so hard. There's so many reasons, like so many reasons to be inauthentic.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And not in a like nefarious wishing other people harm kind of way like that kind of, but really in a self-preservation, self-protection. I
Mm-hmm.
relate to that a lot, and I'm definitely on a journey of figuring out how in my evolution of my professional life, it seems very critical that I enhance my capacity to be authentic, which
Mm-hmm.
is what I hear you saying, and I relate to that a lot. And it is a bit, I find it many things. I guess it's that swirl if it would be an image to come back to because it's sometimes very exciting
Mm-hmm.
and grounding and feels like expansive, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's so much possibility when I do connect in my authenticity. But then I feel like so exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then there can be fear and even like stronger words like terror, where
Mm-hmm.
you just feel, I feel incapacitated. Like, I don't know if I can show up as myself in the world because,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and it makes, so by going into it, I'm finding all the reasons why it makes so much sense that we're not authentic
Oh.
because the work that it takes to do that is
Mm-hmm.
it like it takes everything of you, right? Because it's like you got
Yeah.
to be yourself. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, well, how do I show up in this situation, in this situation, in this, and so, and then you just go through it and like, can I show up authentically here? Can I show up authentically there? Can I let people see these parts of me that
Mm-hmm.
I sense they won't approve of, that I sense
Mm.
they might judge or might not like, or they might just be careless with, even if it's not
Mm-hmm.
even like a their meaning harm kind of thing. They might not realize like, no, this is a very tender place in me.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it with care.
Mm-hmm.
What work to be doing, and so you swirl back around then, and as you do that, yeah, you find those connections that
Mm-hmm.
blow your mind, and that synchronicity of
Mm-hmm.
things starting to happen and unfold in your life in ways that really you couldn't even imagine, so you do
Mm-hmm.
the work to imagine and then you find out, oh, well, it's like this exceeds far beyond even what I
Mm-hmm.
thought is capable. Can you talk a little bit about Heartstorm and the book of poetry that you released this spring?
I can. Uh, it's funny. I'm listening to you speak about it, and it's like how it's hard to be authentic and show up that way. And it was hard for Heartstorm to come out because it's so authentic. It's
Mm-hmm.
so my feeling, like it's my heart. And you don't know how people are going to receive it. I didn't know how people would receive it. And then it's like, well, it's out here and it's my actual heart. I hope that it's not stepped on, or I hope that it's received. So there was that, but it was like at the same time I knew I needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, because it was very cathartic for me. And I felt again that burden. Once it was coming together, I could see like for me, it's like I don't know. It's like my little baby that I that I birthed, and I can see the beauty in it, and I know what it took to arrange it, and I know what I felt when I was writing those poems at various times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so for it to all come together and then to put it out there,
Mm-hmm.
it was very
Mm-hmm.
exciting. Like I was excited
Mm-hmm.
because it was something that I've been working. I felt like years to do because the opening poem is from 11 years before I even knew this book was going to exist. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so it was it was like a labor of love for myself. It was cathartic for me, it was medicine for me, it was healing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And my intention when I was putting it together was like I want someone else, even if it's one person, to read this and feel
Mm-hmm.
the same way. It made me feel good. I'm about to cry. Ah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for bringing that
Mhm.
uh, to this conversation.
Ah.
Yeah.
it's it's I don't know. It's I still even read this book for myself because I find myself in a like this life situation where I'm using my own words to help heal me and right now, like different
Yeah.
things right now, or
Yeah.
help to keep me steady on my journey right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a poem in there called Float that we talk about. And I
Uh-huh.
every day I'm finding more and more how to float, so it's like
Yeah.
I'll be floating and then sometimes you know I'll get a little scared about what's going on around me and I
Yeah.
might start thrashing around a little
Yeah.
bit, and then I have to remember, no, you have to lean back and float. Like the Most High is not going to
Mm,
let you drown right now, just relax,
yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
and so even that, and I think it's interesting to read my own words back to get that reassurance too,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Um, I it's and I don't mean to I don't want this to feel like a sneak attack or like
mm,
a little curveball or something because we didn't talk about it in my brain. It's like, oh, it seems so obvious. Well, why hadn't um would you be interested in sharing in any way with our listeners some of your reading?
mm,
Um, so you could read something right now, or we
mm.
could do something. You can send something like in post after, and I would like edit it in. Uh,
I can I can share something now. It's fine.
yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
fine.
fine. That's
Yeah, it's fine.
fine. That's
It's
okay.
fine. Uh-huh. Do you have Hearthstone right there?
Of course I do.
Yeah,
I
show
always
for
have a copy. Like
yeah, for the people that are watching on
this is
video, there's
Heartstorm.
Heartstorm. Bring
There's
it back just a
Heartstorm.
little bit there. Down. I think the blur is getting it a little
Oh,
bring it
okay.
down, 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 down. There we go. There we
Is
go.
that okay?
Heartstorm. Okay.
Heartstorm.
So yeah, is
Okay.
there something you'd want to read?
Sure. Actually, I think float would be good since I just referenced it. How about
Yeah,
that?
let's read Float. I love this poem, y'all. Okay.
Okay. I feel untethered, like I'm drifting away. The idea of work feels like an abstract concept compared to my destination. I don't know its exact location, but I'm coming to know how it's supposed to feel as it comes to me in the briefest of glimmers. I feel untethered, like I'm drifting away. I can't tell if I'm floating or sinking until the warmth of sunshine on my face reminds me. I inhale the instruction to release the tension of uncertainty. I exhale the divine understanding that is my time to finally let go. and float.
Mm, hmm. Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you.
Oh, that
So,
poem. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have a lot of transition happening right now. It's a lot of uncertainty, but it's good uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just, figuring out my next life move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what am I doing like with my career and then my book and how I'm going to continue to like kind of sprinkle the seeds of my book around because I feel like it's important work to share because it really chronicles the healing journey for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that I don't have to kind of force anything. I just need to
Mm-hmm.
be open and aware to opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And to be grounded in myself to know what it is that I want to do with my career and what it is that I want to do with my book. So that when the opportunities come, I can see it for what it is, an opportunity, and I don't have to be unsure about it.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting what's right and feels right for that moment or
Mm-hmm.
for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that right now, learning to do that more. And the more that I do it, the more I have opportunities to do that. And it feels
Yeah.
really good, because um part of the inauthenticity, too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
but
yeah.
but some of that came from like not being afraid to make choices and not knowing in myself what I actually wanted and having like cracks in my foundation and insecurity, so it was hard for me to move around that way in
Mm-hmm.
confidence and
Mm-hmm.
maybe looking for outside validation, like should I do this or should I
Yeah,
not,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm so far removed from who that person was. I'm still that person, but I've grown so much since
Mm-hmm.
then, where
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to see things for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel confident in my own decision making and what's right and true for where I'm going and what I'm doing, what I'm deciding to do. So it just feels good.
It feels so, yeah. Yeah, I love that you brought up, and it was such an oversight in the talking about the swirling is like, yeah, that authenticity is cathartic. So, I was talking so much about like, oh, the fear and the needing to overcome that and the um but how healing it is, and then we're bringing to me authentic living is there's going to be a creative expression in that,
Mm, absolutely.
and probably more than one and probably
Hmm.
more than two, because it's going to be you'll just start doing everything in your own way,
Hmm.
from like how you dress to how you structure your day to how you decorate your home to how you cook your food, to but also just art as beauty for beauty's sake,
Hmm.
and to create like poems, for example, or I did a recent podcast episode with these two songwriters, and they put out this song Glimmers, and then to hear it surprised me, but it shouldn't surprise me, what I'm
Hmm.
talking about, like where, oh, I got surprised, but oh, it's so
But
obvious.
hmm.
Yeah, because it's speaking to a truth that, oh, they wrote this song of hope, looking for glimmers of hope, and then to hear that one of the songwriters, he's like, I listen to that song every morning.
Mm. Hmm.
That we need to like true art, true poetry, true writing, true whatever it is, relationships, you're doing what it comes out of what you need, right?
Yes.
That's the authenticity. It's not what does somebody else need. It's like,
Hmm.
well, what do I need? And then that then breeds these connections. So thank
Hmm.
you so
Hmm.
much for highlighting that in our talk today, and then just exemplifying that in your
Oh,
life as we
oh.
walk along that. I love just seeing. I get so excited for you,
Ugh.
and I'm learning from you just how you show up
Mm.
after your work putting that out. Because I wrote a book, and then I just was like,
Well, but
it was too scary
it's
to like, and it's still
yeah.
it's still too scary to like fully show up for
Well,
it, and own
it's
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrifying. Like I told you, what the day that it was released, not that anybody would have it because they had to order it and it had to arrive. So I don't know why I felt like this on the day it came out, but on the day that it came out, I hid in the movie theaters all day because I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be I just don't want to. It was like it was too much. I was scared about
Yeah.
what are they
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
say? How is it going to be
Yeah.
received? And
Yeah.
there's like a piece of my heart that's now out there
Yeah.
and in the
Yeah.
just out here. So
Yeah.
it was scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes well now it's less scary. Like, even though I'm sure there will be
Yeah.
critics, there's critics of
Yeah.
everything, but
Yeah.
the it means so much more to get some of the feedback from the people that are in my community that are like, oh, this is my story. I felt this way. Thank you for writing this. Like to
Mm.
that
Yeah.
makes my heart feel so full because that was the whole point. That was the whole point. And you're correct. Like I must express, like to live authentically means to express. You have to. Like I was thinking about this earlier. Um, with like how it write before and kind of like keep it in the jar. And I guess I'm the jar. And it would be like, it's like poison because it ends up just staying there and like you don't get it out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's out
Yeah.
on paper, but it's not out. And
Yeah.
so the expression's there, but it's still just with you, like in a vacuum.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and it needs to get out it needs to be
Mm-hmm.
released. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that there's healing in that.
Yes.
It is very
Yes.
medicinal.
Yes. Yep.
Like I was thinking, like I know I went to your retreat. That was the beginning of this year? Was that the beginning of this year? Is that Jan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like the word that I thought that I am working on, but I think I put something else in with
Okay.
that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's like I feel like if life is a school, I'm double majoring this year in
I love that.
authenticity and self-love. And it's been
Mhm.
such a journey. It's been such a journey.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that because they're like they go together for
Yeah,
me.
it's like two
Like
sides of the
they
same
yeah,
coin, right? Yeah. Yeah.
right. And so it's been a glorious unfolding,
Mm-hmm.
like just
Mm-hmm.
learning like how to love myself in that way and show up for myself
Mm-hmm.
and remain authentic. Like these things they're
Mm-hmm.
married, and it's been great. I'm still doing that even through this year. I'm like, oh, what else can I learn about myself or how to
Mm-hmm.
take care of myself or do what feels good or allows for me to express creatively or,
Yeah.
things like that. So, um, yeah, yeah. I kind of lost the thread of what I was saying. I'm just
That's
thinking
okay.
about
That's okay. That's okay.
that.
We've been riffing for a long time, and even
Yeah.
and this happens a lot. We start with one question, and then we bleed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's not it would be artificial to be, but we are gonna go to the second question, and I think we've already been talking about it. But what do you think it means to live your healthiest life?
Mm. I think for me to live my healthiest life, or what I think it means, is to kind of have um, a balance of mind, body, and spirit. Nothing can be forgotten about or left behind. Um, and it's a daily practice. It's not like you do this one thing this one day or this one week and then it's done. It's constant. You continue to water flowers because you want to keep feeding them. You want them to grow. So you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So you
I
have to
wanted them
continue.
once.
Oh, well, I have to keep doing it, but it's just,
Black thumb, yeah.
yes. Yeah. So
Mm,
it's just keeping those things in check. And then it's also not getting down and out when you maybe miss some of the things that you do for maybe it was a couple days. Like um when I was in Julia Cameron's book and I was so gung I'm like, I'm gonna finish this book. I'm gonna do all the things. I'm gonna do the morning writings and I did for like months. I was morning writings. And then at some point I kind of fell off and I got really down and out about it. But that's okay because that's just life and that happens. And you just have to kind of pick yourself up gently and say, you know what, maybe you needed a break. You can start over again. It's okay.
mhm,
Like it's not
mhm,
that big of a deal. And I feel like before, because I was trying like pre-Japan, I was trying to
mhm.
keep everything so together and rigid that it was like I wasn't even getting joy out of some of the things that I was doing.
Mhm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it was like I'm just trying to follow a program. Now it's more when I'm living more authentically. It's like I'm doing what feels good. And I know that it feels good for me to write. It feels good for me to wake up and pray. It feels good for me to wake up and read my word. And it feels good for me to write. Like I know what makes me feel good now, so I make space to do the things that make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And if I happen to miss that because of something that happened, it's okay. I can either do it later in the day or I can just continue the next day, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't beat myself up about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think, I know for me, that's what I would do. Like, oh, you have to get this done. You have to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the more that I like let go of that kind of thinking, that makes me feel healthier. Like, 'cause that's like a
Mm-hmm.
mental health type of thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, and I think another part of living your healthiest life is talking to yourself like you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like when I really slowed down to listen to my inner dialogue, it wasn't always nice. It wasn't always helpful. It wasn't great. And I started to say to myself, would you say that to your friend? Would you say that to your
Mm-hmm.
niece? Would you say
Mm-hmm.
that to your
Mm-hmm.
sister, your mom? Like you would never talk to anyone else like that.
Mm-hmm.
You would never give that to someone else. So why would you talk to yourself that way? And I have the most conversations with myself. So it's like you want to give yourself like, just positive, gentle um conversations and reinforcements, like just it's okay, and even if you make a mistake, it's okay. Um I also feel like So I guess talking to myself like I love myself, feeling at home in my body and not like
Yeah.
I have to hide
Mm-hmm.
myself
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
like it's taken a long time to feel like that for myself. And I feel like now I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking in that in who I am. I feel much healthier because I'm doing the things that honor myself. Um and I think that's really an important part of living my healthiest life, being comfortable in my own skin, in my own body, being comfortable with my beliefs, my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They're important
Mm-hmm.
too. Um, it means giving myself the room to to dream and to desire and to take up space. That's living a healthy life because there was a point in time where I intentionally did not take up space. I tried to shrink myself and, kind of be off of the radar, off the grill. Like, I don't want too much attention.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look too much at
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing. Like, and I don't feel like that now. And I'm like, okay, you can look if you want to look. I don't care. Like, see what you want to see. So um
Ah.
so that's part of like living my healthiest life and being in community with the people around me, showing up
Mm-hmm.
as myself everywhere that I am. Um, and when I say in community, not just, around people that like tolerate me or just need something from me, but no, like actually living in community with people that like who I am and love who I am. And I like and love them as well and live in that kind of community. All of that to me is part of living my healthiest life. And that's what I mean by the balance of your mind, your body, your spirit, everything that you do, or everything that I do. I should stop saying you, but everything that I do, that's important to me. I feel like that's really um an important part of like living your healthiest life, or at
Mm-hmm.
least just taking care of the things that you need to take care of for you that make you feel good, and make you feel productive. And I think that's all important and contributes to living your healthiest life.
Mm. Um, I think it came out. I was curious when the when you were talking about like I don't want to use this word, but it's the word that's coming. The mindset about uh approaching practices, like when you're trying to grow, you're trying to become the person that you want to be, like head in that direction of that kind of future self. And you talked about that rigidity, and I was curious about like, well, what's the other side? And I think so. It's rigidity versus gentleness, I think was the word that comes
Hmm.
out. Is that
Hmm.
that feels
Yeah,
right?
that feels right because I know, like, for instance, I would every day I need to do my devotion, I need to do this, I
Uh-huh.
need to check this
Uh-huh.
off. And it was I was doing it, but it felt like a checklist.
Yeah.
Now I feel like my approach is I do it because it feels fulfilling to me and it feels good, and I can feel the value in it. And the days that I don't do my typical, say, morning routine or evening routine, because maybe like I'm saying spiritual because that's what I usually do in my mornings. It's all spiritual things, like
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
prepare me for the day, prepare my heart, prepare my mind,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm going to approach or what I'm going to do or the mindset that I want to have. So that's all important to me. It's kind of like I'm putting on, not kind of, I'm putting on like armor before I leave my house, but
Mm-hmm.
before I interact with anyone. And sometimes if I don't do that, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, maybe it's a day I'm just receiving. Maybe I wasn't meant to be reading anything. Maybe I'm just supposed to be quiet this morning and move quietly through
Mm-hmm.
my house and receive messages that way. Or maybe I'm supposed to take a quiet walk and just, let the messages come to me. Maybe I'm not supposed to be asking or reading and it's okay. Before I would
Mm-hmm.
look at it more as like, oh, you didn't do it. You gotta get in there. You gotta do this, you gotta do
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
I don't live that way anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I'm
Mm-hmm.
moving in flow with what feels good for me and what's supposed to be happening for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's occurring to me like a one way to frame it is maybe thinking of in that rigidity, that checklist, that should, that's very external oriented,
Hmm.
disembodied, right?
Hmm.
It's like this top down authoritarian kind of
Hmm.
way of approaching how to live healthy or like wellness or, how am I supposed to live versus it seems like how you're describing living your healthiest life is, oh, what I know these things help. I do these things because you had to connect to yourself to know the things that actually
Hmm.
made you feel calm or made you feel focused or clarity or oriented you
Hmm.
to the world and in coming so it's probably even like some things could be exactly the same on your list
Hmm.
and some things probably dropped off
Hmm.
and how you did them probably changed even if they did stay on there, which is what part of what I'm hearing is that
hmm.
while I have these practices, these things that I do regularly because it's kind of like a getting dressed for the day versus
Hmm.
just walking around naked. You could just walk around like naked everywhere, but
Hmm.
this is definitely going to change your like
Hmm.
interactions, like people. Um, so kind of that, uh, and that's like a biblical reference I recognizing, and they put on like
Hmm.
the armor of the spirit and
Hmm.
um, to get yeah, orientation is coming back to mind. That's the word that would just have your framework for okay, what's today's about? Okay, here's my schedule, here's what I'm doing, and it occurs to me that before so and this has just popped into my head as I'm verbal processing what you said that there's a not just a what to do but in connecting yourself there's much more of a how to do it. Like,
Hmm.
how am I gonna? So, I'm not just gonna do these things today,
Hmm.
which it could be your morning routine, but also just, well, I have to go to work and I have to make this phone call and I have this appointment. But it's that orientation to um, how you're gonna
Hmm.
interact with the world.
Hmm.
I love that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I also really love you covered a lot of ground there, which to me, I'm like, oh yeah. Uh, all the different ways, like so many of the different ways of being authentic. So being authentic in your physical body, your
Hmm.
appearance, what that looks like, and being okay with that, being comfortable. You said beliefs and opinions. Like that's I
Hmm.
think about that. That's work that I'm doing of times where I don't want to like having some kind of conflict aversion that, well, if I just don't say what I'm thinking,
Hmm.
then even if it's
Sure.
like known conflict or just not even, or just like, well, if I don't even know if I can handle a back and forth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like so like
Yeah.
just keeping
That
that inside.
that's actually been like that's one of the hardest things for me that I had to really overcome, I guess,
Hmm.
like in my healing and my growth, is because I come from a family of very, very strong and opinionated women who I love. So, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and I'm the baby, you know? So,
Hmm.
so sometimes it's like, well, I want to fall in line, and I'm like, but I don't think like that. I don't think that, or or something different. It was hard for me
Hmm.
to kind of like express myself that way,
Hmm.
and to
Hmm.
stand on like, no, this is what I think and this is what I feel,
Hmm.
and to know that my opinion's fine too,
Yeah.
I'm allowed to
Yeah.
take up space too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was something I had to learn.
Hmm.
And it took me a long time to learn that. I'm still learning it.
No, I'm
I
still
feel
learning it.
like
I
so.
yeah, I did. I started doing mirror work again recently, and
Hmm.
yeah, one of the things that I read this morning, like said to myself in the mirror, I kind of read it and then I like
Hmm.
say it to myself was, um, and in the pressure of this moment, it doesn't matter whether it's the exact quote, but it's basically like um, my perspective matters, or
Hmm.
I have my, and so does everybody else's, right? So it's
Right.
like in putting it in that context of like,
Hmm.
I don't need to shut down somebody else and they don't need to shut me down. We can have a discourse, which is like a
Hmm.
definitely a maturing to be able to be like, I can have a conversation about things like, well, I don't know what I'll say. Okay, but if I have again my orientation to, well, I need to know what to say. Well, how about you just know how to present the
Hmm.
that in that conversation, how you show up, you're going to be present to what's happening, to what they're saying. You're going to receive it. You're going to feel comfortable taking pauses as needed. You're,
Hmm.
I'm going to switch and try to say, I'll have
Hmm.
the presence to say like, oh, that's enough, or oh, I don't know
Hmm.
if, that I want to talk about it any further,
Hmm.
um, or
Hmm.
oh, you have an interesting perspective. It seems like we see things differently. To learn how to say things
Hmm.
like that. That if I haven't practiced
Hmm.
that because of growing up in a setting where I was taught to fall in line
Hmm.
and to believe a certain way, and there was a rigidity that if you're outside of that was really that it wasn't okay. So
Hmm.
there's internal process, and it occurs to me there's also the skill set. So some of my mantra
Hmm.
is about that I'm learning ways to communicate.
Hmm.
I'm learning skills in communication that help me show up for myself and help
Hmm.
me show up for others, which I have all kinds of blocks that jump up at different times. And I'm like, what the heck? You're in your mid 40s
Okay.
and you're like, you're learning like communication 101. And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, like think of the context. Think of like
Hmm.
how else, if you weren't like, if you weren't taught this, how are you going to learn it?
Hmm.
It takes longer to like figure it out. And
Right.
okay, I had to go and seek things out. And now I'm looking and integrating and on that journey of authenticity. Like, I don't feel like I'm showing up authentically with finances or
Hmm.
in all my relationships, and then doing the work of,
Hmm.
oh, I have these negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. And so how can I switch to a different way of thinking, and I'll keep moving because you said even the authentic journey, and I relate to this really a lot as well as having dreams and desires and
Hmm.
taking up space that um, oftentimes we don't. I want we. I'll just say I.
Hmm.
Um, Oftentimes I don't know what I like or what I want, or feel like it might be too much. If I get like, too excited about something,
Hmm.
like this. So I designed this shirt,
It's very cute.
And so to people listening on the podcast and not
Mhm.
watching, I'm wearing this white shirt that has primary colors that just ILY, like I love you.
Yeah.
Um, and there's so many steps that it took for me
Mm,
to be able to make this in the world. And I just received this yesterday. And then I had to practice, like, what does it feel like to
mhm,
be in this moment? Okay. Oh, I feel excited. I feel hopeful. I feel proud. I feel, um, yeah, there's like such a journey to,
mhm,
and this is my experience, but I also observe the world a lot. And it does seem like a lot of people, we're just in a mold of what we're allowed to be excited about or
mhm,
like celebrate. And there's certain ways that it's okay to be excited or celebrate or dream, or desire or want. And I love how you group that with taking up space.
mhm,
Um, that enjoyment as a thing
mhm,
of taking up space, and that, yeah,
mhm.
that's like on the edge of my
Yeah.
growth right now,
Mhm.
to be specific about my dreams
Yeah.
instead of like, oh, I want to own a home. Okay, what do the walls look like? What's the yard
Mhm.
look like? What does it smell like? What is
Mhm.
it? And to have a dream that's rich and big,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Like it's important to think about those things, not just, minimize them. No, these are things
Hmm.
that you want. Like, how do you want that to look? And it's like more likely to appear in your life if you're thinking about them in that way, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I feel, yeah, like I don't know. Even I'm going back to going to our writers retreat. I was like, I'm going to take myself seriously as a writer. I'm going to do it and I'm going to publish a book. What is it going to feel like? What is it going to look like? And I had to keep telling myself that. And one of the things, one of the best things I could have done when writing that was in our group, because, um, was designing the cover and putting it as my phone screensaver. Because then it was like,
yeah,
it became like
yeah,
this
yeah,
mission.
yeah,
Like I saw it every
yeah,
single day,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
then it started like little by little, it
Hmm.
started like
Hmm.
feel more real and I could see it coming. And
Yeah,
that's like a tiny example, but
yeah.
you know, even thinking when I think back to when I was in Japan, I was like, you know what? When I go back home, I was like, I'm gonna get myself a house, and I'm gonna get myself a little dog, and it's gonna feel very peaceful in there.
Hmm.
And like,
Hmm.
I just kept thinking about it and I kept seeing it. It was like as soon as I came home, these things came to pass. And I got my little house and I got my little dog. And it wasn't like I went out searching for it. It kind of found me because I had been
Hmm.
putting it out there already. It was already out
Yeah,
there ready for me
yeah.
to grab it. And so I think it's important for us to do that, to, you know, really think about the things that we want, which I guess it's manifestation. I just don't like to say manifestation because I feel like one of
Somebody's
these
gonna get turned off, Be like,
exactly.
"Oh, okay,
But
well."
but it's but it's so important to put those, like, to keep those things on your mind. They're there for a reason. You don't have to deny that you want those things.
Hmm.
So, and it's so if that's what you want, you should think about it in that capacity if it's something that you truly desire, you know, for yourself and that you feel like you
Hmm.
need.
Hmm.
So I feel like we need to do that. Or I
Hmm.
need to do that. And no, I
Hmm.
feel like we as people need to do
Hmm. Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
mhm.
Agreed, agreed. And yeah, I think you could also call it like answered prayers, right?
Answered prayers.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. 100% answered prayers.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, or yeah, yeah. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. I'm
We
like, you
don't,
could
because
also call it whatever.
we could stay there for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. We could take it out of a spiritual and say whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah. Simone, what are you currently learning about living your healthiest life?
Uh, um,
Deep
what
breath.
am I
Yeah,
deep?
yeah.
Because it's so much. I feel like I'm constantly like
Yeah,
learning
you're a
and
learner. That should be, and
yeah.
that seems like really critical to be a good teacher,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Is
Absolutely.
that you're learning. So,
always.
So makes a lot of sense that you'd be learning a lot.
Hmm. And I do feel like I'm always like, I told like that little reflection on self-love that I shared with you the other day, like, um, I am the subject, the class, the teacher, and the student
That's
about
right. That's
self-love.
right.
Like,
Hmm.
I am learning so much. I'm learning so much. And one of the things I'm learning is like just to honor my humanity, you know?
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
like I have to honor that. I'm learning that uh rest is not a luxury, and it's like I'm learning how to rest my body, my physical body. I'm learning how to rest my soul and my spirit when that needs rest. Um, I'm learning that, like we talked about earlier, expression is essential to my well-being. When I am not expressing, it's like I'm when I express, it's healing for me, and for if it's writing that somebody else reads it, they connect to it, it's healing for them. But also, even if it's like I just take out my coloring books and I color, that's healing for me. It's healing something in my inner child. Like if I'm painting, if I like I need to express. And when I'm not expressing is when whenever I start feeling angst or like like
Hmm.
I am thrashing around in the water, it's
Hmm.
usually because I'm not expressing myself creatively. When I
Mm.
take a hard
Hmm.
look at it, that's
Hmm.
usually what's happening. Like I'm either not I'm not expressing energy by moving my body enough. I'm not expressing myself creatively by getting the thoughts outside of my head or my feelings out the way that I need to. So that's kind of like an easy check for me now. I understand that now, so I'm learning that expression is very essential to who I am as a person. I need to do it. Um, Something that's funny that I've also learned is, or I have learned and am continuing to learn, uh,
Yeah,
that
yeah, right,
like yeah,
yeah.
that boundaries are essential and they are medicine. Like I need
Hmm.
boundaries, and like just saying no without guilt is like, and letting no be a complete sentence sometimes is okay. And that was very difficult for me in my life,
Hmm.
creating those boundaries. And now that I have them, like guard them fiercely, like this is a hard line right here. And they're good. It's good to have boundaries, um, because they make you feel safe. They make me feel safe. I
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
what I want, what I need, what I expect, and what you can do to
Hmm.
me and what I allow you to do. Like, the boundaries are important.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just like they're important for kids. Like, and it's crazy because I'm a teacher. So I knew that in my classroom, but it was hard to turn it into my real life. In my classroom, I have boundaries. Miss Hall, we can't do this, we can't do that. Kids know how to operate.
Hmm.
They know what to expect from me. And then it's like it's easy communication. But
Hmm. Hmm.
somehow in my life, my personal life, the boundaries weren't always clear. I would make exceptions here or there. They would
Hmm.
bend and fold,
Hmm.
or and I
Hmm.
the firmer my boundaries got, the more like happiness I found for
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
but knowing where to like cast the line for certain things, and you have to, and that takes time to figure out. And I think that that requires being very present with yourself to know those things too. You have to
Hmm.
spend a lot of time alone. And again, I have to spend a lot of time alone, but to do that, like, not even, I don't want to say just alone, but intentional solitude. What am I thinking about? What am I doing in that solitude? What am I doing? Like not just to, watch television or just, kind of lay around. No, being intentional with my alone time and like thinking about different things and, processing different things and spending that time in grounding and in prayer and in meditation. These things come to you. They come to me, or they came to me, or they're coming to me that way. Um, and I think it's important. So it's healthy and helpful to like know yourself that way and not be afraid to spend that kind of time by yourself.
Hmm.
Um, because work is being done. Even if it's not something that anybody can tangibly see, it's something that you can feel and it translates later when you are back out amongst the people. If that makes sense. But I feel like that's important. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I agree that and I know I've heard people say it, I've read it, so I know it's out there, like in the wisdom kind of ethos of
Mm-hmm.
um, the essential nature of being able to spend time alone with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's been such a journey for me, even in the last
Mm-hmm.
6 years, I would say, of my life. So yeah, like that's kind of been like a hallmark of my 40s, which of
Mm-hmm.
course the pandemic was like at the
Mm-hmm.
top of that. So that aided with that. But there was a like a deepening, yeah, capacity for me in that season to spend time alone with myself and to realize the need for time alone that I had never allowed myself. And
Mm-hmm.
that arises to me because I think, boundaries, there's all kinds of boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
a kind of boundary that's occurring to me is, and still like a growth opportunity, is like the need that I need to have time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've done all kinds of work restructuring my work life because my work life was very other oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I made money when I was in front of somebody communicating,
Mm-hmm.
um, and realizing like this takes a lot out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how is that allowing me to show up for people in my life that aren't work related? And, well, they suffer. Okay. Well, how can
Mm-hmm.
I, and you talked about balance. I'm like, that's like, okay, it seems unbalanced. But even for me, like I went to an open mic last night and I wasn't sure whether I was going to go because energy,
Mm-hmm.
time, all that, getting enough sleep, like the opportunity cost, what could I have done with
Mm-hmm.
that time if I hadn't gone? And I said, and I didn't set up a very clear boundary. I set up well, I'm going to go, but only if I'm only going to stay if my name gets drawn early.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like I didn't push myself to say like what is that? What number are you going to be drawn at the open mic that you're going to stay versus
Mm-hmm.
leave? And I witnessed myself because I think I knew I needed to be in the first half, so I needed to
Mm-hmm.
be like another number 15 or ahead, and I drew number 19.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like confusion and I stayed. And
Mm-hmm.
this is just like a little example of,
Mm-hmm.
and here you talking about that, like all the different varieties of boundaries that if I don't, because for me, that's a big issue. Like, when do I leave in a party? When do I leave in an event?
Mm-hmm.
And all the time I'll go in and then I just have a hard time
Mm-hmm.
leaving. And I think there's all kinds of things why, because it's like, well, I've left open mics early and people are like, like sad, or even some people, because of where they're at in life, maybe give me a hard time, like that I'm not going to see them perform. So I already feel like, oh, I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
like you want there to be this reciprocal exchange. And there's all of these kind of dynamics that happen in life. And you're so right about, yeah, just the importance of boundaries and how that comes from being able to be with yourself, and just how being with yourself allows you to show up in the world differently, like in
Mm-hmm.
romantic relationships. But I think it's also in like just like friendships or things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like we can show up better, coming back to self-love, which you spoke of earlier. Like if we can be with ourselves and love ourselves, it allows us to show up in a relationship, and I guess we could even say work relationship or
Mm-hmm.
neighbors or anybody, and
Well,
not need things from people.
right. Right. And
And if there is a no need, you can state it. You'll say, I need this. Or if there's a desire, you can say, I want this.
mm-hmm.
And then you know that you're bartering. Like a relationship's always like a bartering. That person then has the ability, the right to say, I can't give you that, or I
Mm-hmm.
won't give you that.
Hmm.
Um, and then my head was just, it's exploding even more of like all the reasons of like what that means when the skill
Hmm.
set it takes when somebody says no to you.
Right. Right. That's definitely its own skill set. Like part of me, part of this self-love major that I'm double major that I'm doing right now
Yeah, don't,
is based off,
yeah.
I've been focusing on what's it, Mark 12, 30, and 31. And it's the two commandments, and it's the first one is, love your Lord your God. And then
Hmm.
the second one that's just as important is love your neighbor like you love yourself. And you're
Hmm.
never, the focus being that you're never given the commandment to love yourself because it's implied that you already do. So it's like if I'm showing up for myself in a way that says I love myself, which includes having boundaries, then I know how to have them with myself, I know how to have them with you, and it makes for a healthier, stronger relationship, right? So I want to show up with boundaries in place because I know that that's good for our relationship. If I'm all over the place, then you are not going to feel safe with me, and I'm not going to feel safe with you.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
so that's been part of my focus too. Like, and so I'm
Hmm.
still learning that. I'm learning that right. I'm actively learning that now.
Hmm.
And like you said, to your point, like in finances, in spirituality, in relationship, like that's everywhere. The boundaries, like looking at the boundaries everywhere with everything more like with a microscope and like, okay, am
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
like really checking these things over. And that's what I mean when I say I spend healthier time by myself, like looking at those things versus like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
spending time by myself, but what am I doing with it? Like,
Hmm.
because I've spent time by myself. Like I'm a loner by nature, I think. Like I'm friendly with
Hmm.
everybody, but I don't mind being alone. I really don't. But times we're like, oh, I'm just gonna binge movies and binge shows. Well, that's fine sometimes, but not all the time. Use
Right.
that time to do something beneficial for yourself. So I'm learning, how to use my time that way
Hmm.
and how to,
Hmm.
establish and reestablish boundaries. And one thing that I didn't speak on that I am actively learning too is really to take the scenic route too with things because
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
there's
They're
been
very poetic. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because it's like and that goes with like that's kind of tied with like my definition of success because that's changed. And before everything was like I need to do this, I need to be here, I need to be upwardly mobile and climbing and this. And while that's true, it's good to progress. Maybe it does need to be at the rate that the world tells you it needs to be, or what you think it needs to be, or what anybody thinks it needs to be. It's okay to take the scenic route to get there. You learn things along the way, you see things along the way
Hmm.
that you need to
Hmm.
make you who you need to be when you get to the destination that you want to arrive at in the
Hmm.
first place.
Hmm.
So it's okay. I can take my foot off the gas a little bit,
Hmm.
And that's something I'm learning too. And it feels really
Hmm.
good to be in that space. And I think when I first returned from Japan, I don't know, I did like, it was kind of crazy reconciling my old self or
Hmm.
not old, but pre-Japan self with who I
Hmm.
was post-Japan because I learned a
Hmm.
lot there. And I've had to spend like the past few years, like, what is success like for me? What does it look like for me? I thought it was one way, but over the past like 4 years, it's turned into something else. And it's not just a dollar amount or a title. It's more of a feeling. And do I have peace? Do I have joy? Am I happy? Am
Hmm.
I healthy? Am
Hmm.
I helping
Hmm.
people? Am I adding to the community? Am I taking away from it? And like,
Hmm.
these are things that are important to me
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
so that also is something that I'm still learning too.
Hmm.
And,
Hmm.
so
Ooh. Um,
mm,
that yeah, you like covered so much ground there in the because yeah, you could do a whole series, not even just one podcast, right? Like
mhm,
talking about success and
mhm,
uh, redefining that from what's been handed to us. But I love that take the scenic route that
mhm,
um, in my brain is just making connections to like a Sunday, taking a Sunday drive,
mhm,
like you're just like, let's go see what we can see. It's not like okay, Google, what's the fastest, or Apple Maps, what's the
mhm,
fastest way to get from here,
mhm,
point A to point B, but like, oh, I wonder what that whatever looks like. Or when I'm out on a run in the like in the mountains and I have goals for how fast I'm going to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also very pleased. I enjoy it so much better when I stop and take in the beauty and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, let me bend down and take a picture of this flower and like
Mm-hmm.
reference the size of, the size of it, that it's just the size of my pinky nail and like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's so amazing. And let me stop and smell this flower, or like say hello to the bees that are swarming, or stop and take in a vista.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, take that because there's some kind of mysterious magic movement. We'll use some alliteration there that it's different than if I'm just like slugging up there,
Uh,
like go, go, go. But if I stop and talk to the lizard or like,
yeah.
or the snake that I happen to see on the path or the birds, like
It,
there's something about noticing that changes me. There's something about interacting
mm-hmm.
that reminds me that I'm not alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I would the conversation we've this I don't even think this was the last meeting we had at Brave Writers Group, or
Mhm.
we've talked about this a couple times, but um first of all, being out in nature for me is something else.
Mhm.
Like I need that because I feel like I get a lot of downloads and a lot of messaging, like
Yeah.
synchronicity in nature. And we're in the year of the snake, which is like the year of the shed, and we talked about that. But even before this year of this, like I don't know, I started seeing. But I started the first thing that I saw with the snake was I noticed and I never see snakes like regularly. It's not something that I see, but I saw a snake skin
Mhm.
that was like right in front of my door, a shed snake skin. I'm like, this is interesting. And so I started to look up why a snake shed their skin. And they do it when, they have like a fungus or something on them that they need to get rid of, or they're just
Mm.
growing and they need to get rid of it. I'm like,
Mhm.
so looking at that and like taking time with that and thinking about where I was in my life, I was like, I think I needed to see that. I
Mm.
was I needed to shed a couple things that were not helpful for me, and then for the next couple of weeks, then it's like, oh, I see a snake here, a dead snake here, or I see a snake here. Like, and I was like, okay, I'm now making connections with these things because I was slowing down and paying attention to what I
Mhm.
saw versus just
Mhm.
speeding right by it or
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
not even noticing it.
Mhm.
And that's just like a small example, but I see different things that way. And I really think
Mhm.
having my little dog takes me out on these walks. Like
Yeah,
having
yeah,
her
yeah,
help,
yeah.
she
Uh-huh.
helps me to like be out there and like see these things and notice these things because when she stops and looks around, I stop and look around too. Or I
Mhm.
stop and I
Mhm.
spend time too. And I don't know, I just take time. And I had a dog before, again, pre-Japan. And it was when I took him out. I mean, I loved him, but I was in a different space then. So when I took him out, I was like, okay, we have to go potty. We have an objective. Like, this
That's
is what
it.
we're doing. This is
Just
it.
do the
You know,
job. Yeah.
do the job. And my experience now with Rosie, it's just different. We just, we kind of, it's like, I guess when parents have their first child and their second child, like,
Mhm.
you learn
Mhm.
different things
Mhm. Mhm.
about
Yeah,
how to,
yeah, yeah,
and, and with her, I'm just
yeah.
like, no, let's
She's
just
your
go.
second child, yeah.
Yes. I'm like, let's just, I don't,
Uh,
and I don't want to offend anybody that has children. I do not have children, but this is my analogy. But but it's just like she forces me to kind of like slow down a little bit.
mhm.
I go out for enjoyment or just for being in nature or seeing what I can see or just for the health of it and not for we've got to go to the bathroom. You need exercise. It's like, no, let's just go enjoy some nature and let's move our bodies and
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know contribute to our overall health and well-being just by
Mhm.
being out in the sun and in the fresh air. So, yes.
No, there, there she is in the background
Oh,
in the
there she
video.
is. Hey, Rosie, you came in. You
Hey,
heard me talking about you.
Rosie.
That's so funny.
Yeah, she's like,
She's like,
did you say the W word? I think I
right.
heard.
Like it's 100 degrees outside. We're not going right now,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, these darn heat waves.
yeah.
Simone, what is something that
Mm.
you wish people knew more about living their healthiest life?
Hmm. Um, that I think I would have to say that don't shoot for perfection because I feel like
Mm,
I think that's where frustration happens a lot. I know that's something that kind of kept me from not living my healthiest life was feeling I needed to be or think or live and do a certain thing um, at a certain point in time. And I don't think that's necessarily true. So I wish that I would like people to know that, you know,
hmm
the only expectations that you should have, like, don't put any expectations on yourself really that way in that regard, as far as like perfection and things like that. Um, Something else too that I learned is that like healing is not linear because I
hmm
this a lot of this journey like with Heartstorm and then just with my own life, I would think well, when I once I'm healed, once I'm healed, this will be better. Once I'm healed, and like that's just
hmm
not how healing
hmm
works.
hmm
It's cyclical,
hmm
or non-linear. It's you're gonna for me, I found that like you experience things over and over again. Um, Maybe to get a different lesson out of the experience, or maybe you handle it differently this time. And sometimes it's like, oh, that shows you in ways that you've grown since you had a similar situation before, or a similar
hmm
scenario before. I hope that makes sense. But
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, to me it does.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's like, and you will revisit some things because
Yeah.
there's layers to healing,
Yeah.
just like there's layers to your skin when you cut
Yeah.
yourself. You have to, if it's a deep cut, you have to heal from the muscle. And I don't know all the layers of skin. I'm not a scientist, but there's layers. It's not just one sheet of skin,
I'll attest
the,
to that. It's true. It's true.
yeah. So it's like the
Yeah.
epidermis, the dermis, all of that. But
Oh,
it's
see,
like,
there we go. You
okay.
say you don't know,
But
and
just
then you
so,
just said, okay, oh, the
but
hypodermis.
I don't, but there's layers to
Humble
it.
brag.
Just a little something, but it's just there's and I thought at one point it was just you have to heal and then that's healed and then it's done and you move on to the next thing, and that's just not how any of that works.
Hmm
And once I let go of that misconception, life opened up for me too.
hmm
And then it's
hmm
also okay to be duality is a thing too. So you're
hmm
allowed to experience good things while you're healing. It's not just like, well, once I'm healed, this good thing will happen to me. Things can happen. You can be blooming, blossoming, and healing at the same time. They don't have to happen independently of each other.
hmm
And I think that's big because that took me a long time to understand that too. Because it's like, well, I feel like I would feel I grew here. Why am I experiencing this again? Or maybe something totally different that doesn't have to do with that thing is going on. And I'm like, well, how come this feels out of whack or this feels broken, but this feels good? And it's okay because that happens because that's life. And that's okay. And I feel it you have to sit with the feeling of each of those things and understand them both. Understand the joy and understand the parts that are still needing some more nurturing. And that's okay to sit and process that too, and to feel that feeling too, and to have, uh, you know, different feelings about different things at the same time. That's okay. Um, yeah.
I'm just sitting in and taking you in again, like so much life there, so much wisdom of it seems like an offering of, what is something you wish people know. And it's kind of like, here's some pitfalls to avoid that are, uh, can lead to guaranteed suffering. And, you use the word frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that frustration leads to, your, because it's like these expectations that we have of, and the first two things you said seem very related as well. Basically, don't shoot for perfection, and healing is not linear. Um, if we desire to overcome some challenge that we have, some character flaw or something like that, or a way that we want to show up differently in the world, how we relate to them, it can be very frustrating and even harmful to like devastating even to like find that like wait, didn't I already learn this lesson, right? And can almost like derail the whole thing if the
Mm-hmm.
belief is that I'm gonna get it right this time, and then it's gonna be okay.
Right.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I had it right for that long, and then all of a sudden, what happened in this new,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how these expectations for showing up in life a certain way, yeah, can lead to just challenges that aren't necessary. And I love the pointing towards like non-duality of the both and that you can
Mm-hmm.
have uh, this coexistence, this intermingling of uh, good and bad, if we just simplify it, or
Mm-hmm.
like enjoyable
Like,
things and things that feel more akin to pain,
mm-hmm.
that that they're both there. And that's even, I think, some of how humans have a hard time processing emotions is because like grief, for example, or sadness or anger, we think
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna just consume us and take us up. That it's not also that these other things are existing within them or alongside them. Um, and I love that you balanced out the understand for joy and the need for nurturing. There's such a softness to and gentleness. So that it would come back to what we were talking about earlier on in our conversation of versus that rigidity, but that gentleness. And I hear that in these offerings, and it just rings so true and so full of so much life and hope and promise for people. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for you saying yes to being here and
Mm-hmm.
to this journey that you've taken on through this conversation, which has been sharing a little bit of your journey of life, like a glimpse into that. Um, I'm so uh, excited about Heartstorm
Uh,
and how you're showing up in the world. We'll definitely put that, in the notes, in the show notes for people to uh, um, figure out how to, to put so they can access purchasing that.
mm-hmm.
So let us know how we can do that, and we'll definitely pass that on. I feel so much love for you and so much
Oh,
gratitude. Thank you for being here today.
thank you, Elle. Like I've really enjoyed this. It's been really great. It was a good conversation. We always have good conversations, but I like the questions that you were asking because they really made me think about these things that maybe I wouldn't think about in so much depth in this way, you know? So it was healing for me too. Again, even this conversation, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like to just hear my actual thoughts and opinions and beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and say them to
Mm-hmm.
you and to whoever's listening because it's like, oh yeah, this is what I think and feel and believe, and maybe you'll get something out of it too. I don't know.
That's right. That's right. Taking up
So
the space, right?
yeah, just take up
And
the
showing up
space.
and creating it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been like it's been so much fun, and thank you for having me on here. I'm very happy about it, and for even talking about my little labor of love with Heartstorm, and giving it space, and showing up for me. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much,
Hmm.
Simone. To all the listeners, may you always see the blessing.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the LYHL Podcast. I hope to see you at the next one. You can make sure that that happens by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. If you're new to the podcast, go ahead and listen to past guests. There's really just a wealth of knowledge there. This is a passion of mine, to help you live your healthiest life, and to do that together in community. Contributions would make this work so much more easy, and you can do that via the link in the show notes or the website through Ko-fi, and the website is www.thelbetrayal.com. You can join the newsletter, the LYHL newsletter, via the website and show notes. There's also opportunities if Instagram is your thing. I'm on there on occasion, and you'll look for the LYHL community, and LYHL is LYHL. If you want to see the video of this, if you're not already there, you want to go over to YouTube and you'll look for the Elle Botrel, and you'll be able to watch videos from there. Merchandise options to help share that positivity, helping others to live their healthiest life. And you can find that via the website or emailing me at info@thelbetrayal.com. Thanks so much, and may you always see the blessing.